Well, this RC car video is about 10 things you must know about the Traxxas TRX6. Now, these aren't necessarily niggles, they're not me having a pop at the car, they're just 10 things that I think it's important that you should know if you've got one or you're considering buying one. First of all, the wheels and the tyres. We have 2.2 wheels fitted to the car, but have a look at this 1.9 tyre. And that is because this 1.9 tyre is exactly the same diameter as this one here, which has got a 2.2 beadlock wheel in it. So you might be interested to learn that these tyres are exactly the same diameter as the stock Traxxas TRX4 ones. So basically what we have got is a 2.2 wheel with a 1.9 tyre stretched over it. So why do you need to be aware of that? Well, you need to be aware of that because a smaller sidewall on the tyre means it's actually got less flex in the tyre. So you're getting less of that grabbing action that the tyre does when you're out crawling. With a stiffer sidewall, the tyre is not wanting to grab and bite in as much. So you might actually want to consider getting a set of 1.9 wheels and tyres to fit to the car, because they will still fit under there as they're exactly the same diameter, but you'll get more grab from the tyre due to the sidewall being bigger. As I say, it's not a gripe, it's just something to be aware of. On the plus side, that smaller sidewall means this car will handle better at speed. However, this is a crawler, it's not a buggy, so we're not necessarily concerned with top speed on here. Just to show you the difference in size, here we have a 2.2 wheel with a 2.2 tyre on it. You can see substantially higher in size on there, and that would barely squeeze under the arch without a little bit of work. And I do wonder at the back whether they would hit each other on there. But as I say, it's not a gripe, it's just something to be aware of. 2.2 wheel, 1.9 tyre. Anyway, talking about the tyres takes me straight on to point number 2, which is to do with the car's steering. But for that, I need to take you outside.
Number 2 has to be the turning radius. You would think, with it being the 6x6 setup with the longer wheelbase on there, it would not turn anywhere near as good as the TRX4 does. But this is with all the diffs unlocked in low gear. That is not a bad turning radius at all. It's the kind of thing that people overlook, but you might think that it would have a much larger one, and indeed you would be right. If you lock all the diffs, then the turning radius is greatly increased. You see how much nearer we're coming to the wall on there. If you're thinking about getting one of these, it's something I think you should be aware of, is that it actually turns pretty good, far better than I thought it would do. So that's point number 2 on my things to know about the Traxxas TRX6. And point number 3, you're looking at them, but we need to wait till it gets a little bit darker to show them off to the best.
And point number 3 of things you must be aware of about a Traxxas TRX6 is the absolutely outstanding LED lights. But there is a niggling little issue with them which you may or may not find to be a problem, which I'm going to discuss later on in the video. Anyhow, I've also fitted rock lights, which I'm also going to talk about later on in the video, but let me take you outside for a quick practical demonstration, show you just how good the LED lights are and just how good the rock lights are. Now it's dark outside, we can see.
Well, whilst the TRX6 has got a light kit fitted to it, it's fairly simplistic in its operation. Like, if you, in terms of braking, no extra brake lights come on. The same when it reverses, no reversing lights on there. So they're just plain red lights at the back, plain LEDs at the front. But what a set of LED lights. They light the thing up like Christmas. You will also note the glow coming from underneath the car. This is because this car has had the optional rock light kit fitted to it. Saw somebody else had done it on Facebook and was really impressed with that. Anyway, let me know what you think of the rock light kit, because I think that's one of the best things that I've fitted to the car so far, albeit purely cosmetic. You can see exactly what all the wheels are doing, what they're catching on, what they're snagging on, etc. But you could drive this thing quite easily at night.
So there we have it. Plenty of LED power enabling you to drive and go on a good crawling session at night. To my mind, the rock lights are like a must-have for fitting to the car, as they just transform the already powerful lights to being really good to be able to see exactly where your wheels are when going over obstacles. Anyway, let's move on to point number 4. Well, for point number 4, I'm going to get the camera down because point number 4 is suspension and drivetrain. And whilst I'm going to talk you through its key features, I'm also going to take it outside and give you a quick demonstration as to what a difference they make to the truck's handling. Now, first of all, when it comes to suspension,
The Traxxas TRX6 has the long travel shock kit already fitted to it. That's like a $200 option to fit it to the TRX4, but this has got the kit fitted all round on there. So that's something to be aware of visually. You might not notice that on there, but it has got the long travel shock kit fitted to it. Both the differentials on the rear axles can be locked and unlocked at the same time. They work as the pair and are switched from this servo over here. Likewise, the front differential can also be locked and unlocked using that servo there. It's also got a 2-speed gearbox, giving you both high and low speed. I know a lot of you know that, but things like long travel shocks, not entirely obvious to everyone. Anyway, if you're not familiar with this truck, let's go outside, quick demonstration of those features. Okay, first of all, we're going to take off in low gear, diffs unlocked, quite quick. However, changing into high gear, and it's a different beast altogether. And when it comes to that gear change, you can do it on the fly while you're moving along. You don't have to stop to change gear. Now, first climbing demonstration, going to give in low gear, but with all the diffs unlocked, and see how we get up or not up this slope. And we're just butting up against the thing, not wanting to get any grab on there at all. Try again, a little bit of a run up. Nope, still the same thing. Okay, now we can lock all of our diffs and get straight up and over the same obstacle. Thought that a very good practical demonstration, lock diffs versus unlock diffs on there. And coming in from the side there, just be able to see that suspension flexing up and doing its strutting its stuff with that long travel kit there, really working the suspension. You can see on there. That's where that long travel is going to need the extra inches of clearance needed to get up something like that. Anyway, I hope in that short demo you're able to see there the high and the low speed gear working, the diffs being locked versus unlocked on there, and also that demonstration climbing up there so you could see the length of travel that the suspension has with the long travel suspension kit.
Well, if you weren't entirely familiar with the Traxxas TRX6's functions, I hope that practical demonstration of the suspension travel and the drivetrain helped. Anyway, let's move on to point number 5. Just remember guys, if you like what you see today, don't forget to subscribe. Now point number 5 to be aware of about the Traxxas TRX6 is its speed. I had a very early Traxxas TRX4 and did a GPS speed test on it, and that hit a peak speed of 30 miles an hour on 3S in the high gear. You may have seen the video that I shot down at NorCal Hobbies the other day of this very same car, and hit a peak speed of 9 miles per hour on 3S in high gear. So it is something to be aware of, but for a more practical demonstration, let me take you outside and show you exactly what that looks like. But bear in mind, this is a crawler, and I would point out that most of us would struggle to run behind this thing at 9 miles an hour. Very few of us could even stay with the thing at 13 miles an hour, even running absolutely flat out. So this point is one that you should be aware of. I don't see it as a showstopper, but I'll show you what 9 miles an hour looks like outside right now. Whoa, Richie, whoa moment, because Richie has been a busy boy overnight. So in the following clip, you are going to see the stock car running at 9 miles an hour, but then Richie might have a little twist on it coming up.
Well, here's a practical demonstration of point number 5, which is the speed on the stock gearing on 3S. A stock Traxxas TRX4 in high gear will hit 13 miles an hour. This, however, does 9 miles an hour flat out. So point number 5 is just something to be aware of. This is quite a bit slower than a Traxxas TRX4 is stuck out the box.
So there we have it, 9 miles an hour at top speed. But to my mind, that is perfectly adequate for what it does out on the trail. As I say, you'd struggle to run behind that. Speaking of running behind it, if you really want to run fast behind it, check out the following clip, because yours truly has been a busy little boy and I have made 1 or 2 alterations to the TRX6 overnight to make it go just a little bit faster. Anyway, let's go outside and see.
If you go and fit a brushless motor to it, of course in high gear might go much quicker, like this. You cannot imagine how many retakes it took to get that rollover shot right. Outstanding. Anyway, on to point number 6.
So what did I do to make the car move that quickly? Well, this has now got a Castle Creations 4600 kV brushless motor in here, Mamba X ESC that was running on 3S, 16 tooth pinion, 45 tooth spur, if anyone was interested. To my mind, the car has now got more than adequate enough power and speed in terms of the trail. If anything, that's probably a little bit overkill, but as I'm feeling bored today and I've got a little bit of time on my hands this afternoon, might see if I can make it go even faster. Anyway, moving on to point number 6, which is the increased traction and lower centre of gravity of the car. Blindingly obvious, Rich, it's got an extra axle, of course it's got more traction, but it's also got something missing. And that is the high centre of gravity that the TRX4 had, and that spare wheel, most importantly on the back, has gone. My TRX4, I used to have a constant problem with the spare wheel on the back, was pulling the car over and it literally end over end backwards down the hill. Somebody said, remove the spare wheel from the car, Rich, it'll climb much better. It was climbing when I took the spare wheel off, probably about 10 degrees steeper slopes with the wheel off than the wheel on there. So not only have we got the extra traction from the extra axle, which is obviously blindingly obvious, but we've got a much lower centre of gravity and we don't have that wheel weight at the back pulling the car over when you're climbing up slopes. So something added and something lost, both of which provide a lot more traction to the back end of the car, I think, compared to the Traxxas TRX4. So some of that blindingly obvious, some less so. Anyway, on to point number 7. Well, point number 7 of things about the Traxxas TRX6 is the rock lights. Now this is where I do have a little bit of a niggling gripe with Traxxas over this, but let me take the camera down and explain the problem to you in a little more detail. Whilst they look fantastic with 4 lights at the back of the truck and another 4 at the front, there is one just slight problem when fitting them. The niggling problem seemed to be to actually get them to fit. These are the top of the rock lights, I say 4 at the front there and 4 at the rear. However, there's that space for 2 here. This kit is the one that they advertise on the site for the Traxxas TRX6, but it says Traxxas TRX6 stroke Traxxas TRX4. So it looks like this is a kit for the TRX4, but the TRX6 is set up for the lights on here. The long and the short of it is that the wiring harness, every which way I tried, could not get it to fit. So I had to put an extension in down this side. Fairly simple job, just cutting 2 wires and wiring them back together on there. But like a niggling little fault, and I kind of think at this price point on there, well, the lighting kit is fairly cheap. There should be a dedicated kit available for it. So that's a little bit of a gripe that I've got with it. Not a big issue if you've got some basic electrical skills, so it's just something to be aware of, but I do feel it kind of needs sorting, and that they should offer a dedicated TRX6 kit to fill these extra spaces. And while we've got the top off, let's move on to point number 8, which is the lighting kit. And this is one just to be aware of, because if you keep the stock ESC, it's not necessarily going to be a problem for you. This is the stock ESC. This little red lead here plugs in here normally, which then goes down to this lighting box to provide the power for it. However, if you fit something like a Mamba X ESC to the car, you won't have that lead coming off the ESC, so you'll need to find another source of power to connect into there. So I've wired in positive and negative wires off of the battery into the power source there. So that is just something to be aware of. Still, you might think, oh, fit a brushless setup to the car, but if you fit a brushless setup to the car, you are going to lose that ability to connect that wire powering the lights. So point number 8, not a showstopper, but one you need to be aware of and maybe plan for that if you're considering going to a brushless setup. Well, point number 9 of things that you need to be aware of about the Traxxas TRX6 is the absolutely outstanding climbing ability it has. So, time to get the climbing board to work and give you a practical demonstration, because it's quite impressive.
Diffs locked and 50-degree slope. And I think just positively marches up that. Absolutely outstanding traction from the 6x6 setup.
Well, I hope you like that little demonstration demonstrating the traction and its climbing ability I think it has a lot more to come. I think a change in tyres to something with a bigger sidewall, so it's got more grab, if you like, on the surface would help. It could do with a little bit more weight, to my mind, at the front. Both of those things should greatly help its real world climbing ability, and we should be able to see that angle increase even more. But let me know what you think in the comment section below the video. And point number 10, you've been looking at it all the time. It's this absolutely gorgeous scale body. Let me get the camera down, show you just why I like it so much. Well, the body is what really makes this car for me the complete package on here. Super scale, absolutely packed full of details. A fully licensed Mercedes-Benz replica of the 6x6. The original of these cost about $800,000 a piece, all completely sold out within about a week of being announced at Geneva Motor Show. Even down to little touches like the little side lights on there, the little side lights on the front of the car as well. Absolutely outstanding LEDs, but more to the point, it's just like a mini version of the real thing on here. So that is why this is point number 10. To give you some idea, I've got my HGP 601 on the side here, which is kind of a semi-replica of the Mercedes AMG 6x6, but it is not a patch on the body of this thing. So there we have it. That is my top 10 things I feel you must know about the Traxxas TRX6. I hope everybody gained a little bit from this video. Do have your say in the comment section below the video of which your favourite bits of the car were, or if I missed anything out that you feel should have been in my top 10 points. Anyway, many thanks for watching. Well, thumbs up if you like this video, guys. Post any comments you might have in the comment section below the video and hit the circle below to subscribe. And if you do hit the circle, don't forget to hit the bell.